I'm an atheist, and, you know, coming from a family of Christians, it ain't easy. I know y'all know that.
I don't know that firsthand.
Real quick,
but
I just wanted to go over a conversation that me and my dad had the other day, and it seemed like he basically wanted to put the concept of, like, parental views on God or something like that, if that makes any sense.
I'm not sure.
Like he was treating God as a paternalistic personality, or he was saying that he had some authority as a parent?
Now, basically what he was getting at was like, okay, God brings you into this world and has like a set goal for you to reach, but it's up to you to decide how you get there.
All right, so that's his view.
Yeah, and me and him went on about that for a few minutes, and I mean, we just didn't see eye to eye on it.
Sure.
But, I mean, I asked him, I was like, so you basically think that God brings you into this world, but you're ultimately going to reach the same goal no matter what.
Oh, he thinks you can't escape it. He's like, this is a hardline destiny that you're going to do. Whether you...
I think what he was trying to get at was like, okay, you have this set goal that you have to reach, and it's up to you to get there, and basically whether or not you get there or how you get there will be judged in the end as to whether or not you get accepted into heaven or get condemned to hell.
So you have to figure out what it is that your mission is,
yeah,
and then go do it.
You don't even get the card, right? Like your mission, should you choose to accept it. It's like, no, we're not going to tell you what the mission is, and you have to accept it. Go.
Yeah, basically, like, he kept going back to, like, one question he asked me was like, okay, me being an atheist, he said, well, what do you think the purpose of life is? And I said, I think we have to make our own purpose. I don't really think we have one. I think we just have to make it ourselves.
Sure.
And he said, well, if there is no God, what's the point?
What's the point of what?
Like, what's the point of life is what he kept getting at. You know,
I don't know. My cats don't believe in a God, and they seem pretty happy.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I don't see them, like, you know, getting ready to kill themselves. They love playing with balls and things. You know, it's like, life could be playing with, you know, tiny soccer balls and scratching the door frame and rolling in catnip. I mean, and that can be enough to give you joy for at least 10 to 14 years or so, you know, apparently. And I think with a human being, we have so much more at our disposal to make life interesting and beautiful and wonderful. And I think it's sad that they're sad that there's so many people that don't have access to things like that. You know, we have a lot of privilege in some instances to be able to avail ourselves of wonderful things to make meaning, where some people don't have that.
Well, there's one more quick thing I wanted to go over, and then I'll let y'all end the show.
Okay.
And it's something he asked me a while back as far as abortion, and like I said, I'm not going to go deep into this. I'm going to make it real quick.
Well, this will just be the light abortion discussion. Abortion light. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He basically asked what my view on abortion is, and I think it should be the woman's choice whether or not she gets one. I don't think society should choose it for her. But long story short, he basically said that, okay, if abortion is legal, how can someone who killed a pregnant lady be deemed double homicide? I said, you're right, it can't be, because if you kill a pregnant woman and abortion is legal, you can't rule it a double homicide. But one thing I wanted to ask is, if you want to illegalize abortion, then how can you deem it right that later on in this child's life after it's born, how can you deem it right that if that child is unruly, you should stone it to death?
You asked him this.
No, I haven't asked him that yet because I really don't.
But that's what you're, okay, because at first I thought you were asking me, and then I realized, okay, this is a question for Dad.
I basically want y'all's opinion on that. I basically want y'all's opinion if abortion is wrong, but then they want to bring the child in to only stone it to death later because it was unruly. I mean, how is that right?
Well, I mean, right now what they're basically saying is abortion is wrong, and yet when the child is born, we don't want to give it health care. Right? I mean, so there's all kinds. It's once a child's born, they don't seem to care very much what happens. I mean, I'm sure some of them do, but the people that are most vehemently, you know, conservatively anti-choice would tend to probably not be all that caring about people in circumstances that might need help later in life.
And see, that is something I brought up to him. You know, I told him that, you know, that is wrong. But I just don't understand, you know, all these people who are against abortion, but people who are like very religious. And like I said, he's closed-minded, so I don't like talking to him about it too much because I don't like fighting with him. But
well, it was really weird.
I don't understand.
Well, when I was younger, right, I was part of a conservative Christian church, and we didn't really talk about abortion because the Bible doesn't say much about it. And so for me, I actually was pro-choice and conservative Christian because abortion wasn't like a big issue from the pulpit. We were biblical literalists, and the Bible doesn't say very much about it.
That's interesting.
I just find that to be a big contradiction. You know, you're against abortion as a Christian, but then when the child comes into the world, your Bible basically says that if your child is unruly, you should take them to the edge of the town at the gates and stone them to death.
If you want to understand it, like if you're actually asking to understand it, you have to kind of look at their ideas about sexuality, because their anti-abortion stance is really part of a larger sexual control issue. And this is why it ends with the birth, right? Because then you can't control her anymore using the child. Once the child is born, you can't use it as a tool to control the mother and punish her for her sexuality. And so, I mean, you kind of can by letting her have the child and then making her life hell for having the child, which, if you think about it, is consistent, right? So you don't allow her to have the abortion because the horrible woman, I mean, I want to throw in like a sexist slur here to kind of give their view, but I'm not going to. But this awful, you know, sexually promiscuous woman went and had sex, and now she wants to just eliminate this consequence of her irresponsible behavior. And therefore, we're going to force her to have the child so that she can pay for her crime of sexuality. And then once the child is born, she can be saddled with that kid and continue to pay for her sin. Do you understand what they're saying?
I guess I do.
Yeah, it's not about the baby at all. It's not really about the baby. The baby is an argument that is like put on top of a larger argument about controlling sexuality.
Basically it's like, okay, before the child is born, they're all for trying to conserve this child's life, but like after the child's born, it's like they don't even care anymore. They're just...
I'm saying they don't really care before.
Yeah, that's just window dressing.
Remember the foreclosed identity? They are accepting something there that they haven't really thought through. And what they're actually pissed about is that she had sex. And she wasn't supposed to.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, it explains why they don't care about the baby after it's born, and yeah, why you can stone it to death, and because it's not really about concern for the baby. You're looking at an inconsistency because you're taking them in good faith.
I don't really think it's so much about abortion. I mean, I think it has a little bit to do with that. I think more or less it has to do with controlling women, because I mean, if you look at religion like Christianity, it seems like more power is given to a man and woman, and it seems like women are just put there to serve men, which I think is bullshit.
Well, that's kind of how it started in the Bible, right? I mean, she was the little handy helper to kind of serve Adam. So, I got nothing. That's pretty much it. I think we're done. I think we're going to let you close us out here. Does that make sense?
Well, I do appreciate y'all taking my call, and y'all have a good day.